morning, everybody. How's it going? Good morning, good morning. Morning. Perfect timing, just got up inside. Oh, perfect. That literally is perfect timing. Okay, you're fine. Let's make some coffee. Okay. Let's get the collagen out. Oh my gosh, right? I haven't had my nails done in so long. This is my first time getting my nails done since the baby shower, which was a full month before she was born. So it's been a long time. Been a long time since you came around. Hey, I'm so glad you got a chance to catch up. How are you, Jen? Like, you had a wild time. Good morning, you and yes, our most favorite book club member. That's right. You are. She's asleep. She's like out like a light, like, which thank goodness. She had a little bit of a rough weekend, but she's good now. Yeah. Okay, let's go get them work. You saw 6? Wait, did you love it, Jen? Are you obsessed? Because I love it. Me and my boyfriend are going through his things and gave me and can't believe it. That's amazing. Are there any, like, really good ones? Tell us everything. 6 is so good, you guys. I love 6. It's definitely a bop. Definitely. Do you think I can open this, or am I just incapable? My husband got me these like zero syrups or whatever. Hey, Stella. And so I wanted to try putting this caramel one in the coffee, but I can't get it open. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah. If any of you haven't listened to 6, take it from Jen and I. It's phenomenal. You're almost home. Oh, very exciting. Choc Zero. I haven't tried the syrups, but I love the rest of their products, as we know. So, you know, I'm sure that this is good too. We'll see here in a moment. I think I didn't put enough on. Oops, I maybe put too much. Oh well. We'll work it out together. Am I missing out? What is 6? 6 is a musical. It's a shorter one, actually. I think it's only an hour and a half long. It is a musical about the wives of Henry VIII. That's why there's 6 of them, the 6 wives of Henry VIII. Morning, Christina. And it's done as like a pop musical. So each of the wives is, no intermission. Each of the wives is represented by a vocal style of like a pop artist. So there's like a Britney, there's a Beyonce. They're not Britney and Beyonce, but they're like, Anne Boleyn or whatever, but they have like the vocal stylings of, I really need to descal this machine. On Orlando Stories book 1, Jumps to book 2, 70 pages. That's horrific, Amanda. Did the video not go up? Okay, Amanda, if you remind me, I will read the last 70 pages on a video for you. Hey, Sloth. Baby Petey's. Definitely some of the songs have been on FYPs. Like, in 2020, one of the songs went viral. If any of you were here on TikTok in 2020, if you heard, 6 is amazing. If you guys heard the trend that was like, yeah, that didn't work out, but then you'll never guess who I met. That's from 6. Oh, hey, Susan, how's your wrist? Our weekend was good. We took her to the museum, and she loved it. If any of you don't follow me on Instagram, we have photos of that I'll be posting. I've posted some of them, but we had a really good time at the museum, and it was adorable. Yeah, definitely add 6 to your watch list, or even just your listen list if you like listening to fun musicals on Spotify or whatever. It's a jam. 6 is a jam. Brace helps, yeah, I bet. Jeez, just from like overworking it, right? I mean, you didn't do anything else. You didn't seriously, you didn't injure it on top of the extra work. But working at the computer does do a number on your wrists, you guys. It's true. And people don't realize like how much slime actually helps. Like when I used to work at a computer quite a bit more than I do now, like I still have to answer emails and stuff like that for you guys, but like it's nothing compared to when I like worked in an office. Slime helps. It genuinely does. Sorry, my overnight oats were looking a little dry skis, so I added a little more milk to them with the Office and the sorbet. Oh, it's insane. I got a split and raise keyboard, and that saved me. Good keyboard can definitely save you. Death Becomes Her keeps popping up my feed. A friend of mine is in Death Becomes Her, I think. I'm pretty sure my friend is in that. Josh Lehman, I'm pretty sure he's in that. Pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah. Because they just got Tony nominations, I think. Yeah. All right, moment of truth. I also have trouble with the split keyword. Oh, it's trending again now. I didn't know that. What kind of overnight oats do you make? All different kinds depending on my mood. This one was like a cinnamon honey nut one. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Oh, you know who Josh is? Yeah, he's great. Josh and I have known each other for, gosh, how long have we known each other? Since like 2008? Yeah. Yeah, this coffee is pretty good. Squishy is so squishy. She's so good. She's very asleep, which is great for me. It means that we're starting our day off on the right foot. Because she is asleep. Someone got filtered, and I bet it wasn't worth filtering. I bet TikTok just filtered a comment that was totally lovely, and they just don't want us to have fun. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. I think they just don't want us to have a good time. It was rude. It was really often rude. Okay, so today in book club, we're going to be reading Poppy on the Go. I'm just kidding. I can't start reading that because she'll wake up if I start crinkling that book. But that is her favorite book. Okay, let's go. Let's just lean back. Okay, we did it. We did it. Really quickly, before we start reading, I just want to comment on how the last two things that like people have decided to criticize me on have been the opposite of each other. So yesterday, a lot of you who are on Patreon probably saw I was like annoyed because somebody was like out of the blue just commented on one of my videos and was like, babies can nap in their crib. What? I was like, first of all, I never complained about where she naps at all. Like, not once have I complained about the fact that she naps on me. Second of all, who asked you? Third of all, okay. So that happened. And then follow up to that, then people are like, oh, she has no head support when you wear her like that. And I'm like, she's literally laying on me. Like, what do you mean she has no head support? Like, I am her head support. That's how it's ridiculous. Yeah, babies can nap. Well, actually, babies nap wherever they tell us they're gonna nap, if am I right? But it's crazy, Stephanie, just, you don't even know. But it's like wild. But yeah, no, the baby doesn't nap where I tell her, she naps where she tells me. I'm sure if you didn't want a contact nap, you wouldn't. Yeah, but I mean, like, we would have a rough life if I didn't contact nap, because this is how she sleeps. And the thing of it is, and I said this on Patreon, she sleeps in her crib all night long. You know what I mean? It's just during the day that she doesn't want to be in the crib, and it's okay. It's okay. She can have different sleep styles. She literally slept for 9.5 hours straight in her crib last night. Like, I'm not going to complain about a daytime contact nap. Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to miss it when she doesn't want to nap on me anymore. Like, I look at her in the crib and I get sad. I'm like, oh, my baby is in there all alone and she doesn't want to cuddle me right now. I'm like, but I have to let her sleep because, you know, she wants to and she sleeps so well that way. So I don't bother her, but I do look at her. I'm like, hello, I love you. Why does it matter? She's healthy and happy. Yeah, contact naps are the best. I know. I mean, obviously we're living through it right now. We're doing our best. Isn't that good for her sleep cycle? Yeah, it's great for her sleep cycle that she knows that there's a difference between day and night. That's exactly right. She is on track to understand day versus night. My kids would nap wherever they. Yeah, exactly. As long as the airway is open and they're safe, the rest is irrelevant to me. She wants to nap where she's gonna nap. Yeah. Sometimes usually it's in a wrap. She's a very, very big rock nap kid, but sometimes she just falls asleep on her dad's shoulder. Also fine. And then he's stuck and he doesn't move for an hour and a half. You know what I mean? It is what it is, because he has not yet mastered wrapping. We're talking about that. We talked about that last night, how I have to get him, you know, wrap comfortable so that he can not be stuck as soon as she falls asleep on him, because sometimes she'll fall asleep on him and he's like, well, now what am I gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, sir. I don't know. Kids can literally sleep anywhere. Yeah, in her toy box. That's adorable. I hope you have pictures, Heather. I hope you have pictures. Olivia has done that. Do you know how hard it is to say Olivia instead of Olivia? Do you know how hard that is? Try it. Just like out loud to yourself right now. Just say Olivia instead of Olivia. Just real quick. And just like feel how weird that is in your mouth. Olivia. It's difficult. But I will continue to do it because I'm committed to this bit. Oh, I believe it, Jolene, and that's totally fine. As long as they're safe, it's all good. Hey, listen, you know what the cats say, right? If it fits, it sits. If it fits, it sits. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep going. Obviously, we are reading Mockingjay, and we are, I don't know where we are. Can you, whatever is going on out there, it has to end. You all have to stop doing this during book club. It got louder as I said that. It goes by too fast. I agree, Mel, because I was just, okay, so, oh good, that's good to know, Jolene, because I hate them. So you guys know how Becca found her exact sleep sack in the next size, and Becca is going to, you know, obviously give us the next size sleep sack, but I was showing Becca a picture of the first time we put her in her beloved sleep sack, and she was like drowning in it. She was like a little starfish swimming around in there. But now her feet are like at the edge on this sleep sack. Like we have about 1 week left before we do not fit in this sleep sack anymore. So I'm very lucky that Becca found the next size where she lives, because they don't stock that sleep sack in California right now because it's the winter sleep sack, and it's not winter here obviously, but in New York where Becca lives, they were still stocking them. They didn't have them on the website because I tried to get it there first. So luckily they were still stocking them in New York, and Becca grabbed two, one in this size and one in the size after, because it's like her favorite little thing. Hey, Jack. And even though it is a winter sleep sack, so it's a warmer one, we keep our house at like 68, 70. I know, listen, you're preaching to the choir, Victoria. So like she's gonna be comfy in a warmer sleep sack, even probably over the summer, because it'll be a little chillier in the house than outside. Especially because we have slime here. I have to keep the temperature, you know, pretty even keel, so the stuff doesn't melt. Yes, props to Jack for turning my mood around last night. Everybody, a round of applause for that lady. All right, I'm gonna get one more sip of coffee and then we're gonna get into reading our stories. Here we go. We are on chapter 7, page 85. Chapter 7, page 85. The hovercraft makes a quick spiral descent onto the wide road on the outskirts of 8, and almost immediately the doors open and the stairs slide into place and we're spit out onto the asphalt. The moment the last person disembarks, the equipment retracts, the craft lifts off and vanishes, and I'm left with a bodyguard made up of... Wait, what? Oh, okay. I guess that is what she means. I'm left with a bodyguard made up of Gale, Boggs, and 2 other soldiers. The TV crew consists of a pair of burly Capitol cameramen with heavy mobile cameras encasing their bodies in insect-like shells, a woman director named Cressida, who has a shaved head and is tattooed with green vines, and also her assistant, Messala, a slim young man with several sets of earrings. On careful observation, I see that his tongue has been pierced too, and he wears a stud with a silver ball the size of a marble. How would you talk with a tongue ring that big? Like, I can't imagine having a tongue ring at all. Props, I mean, live your best life. I'm not judging anyone who does. But like a marble? Seems like, I don't know, whatever. Boggs hustles us off toward the row of warehouses as a second hovercraft comes in for a landing. This one brings crates of medical supplies and a crew of 6 medics, and I can tell by their distinctive white outfits. I can tell that that's what they are by distinctive white outfits. I had a spike for a while. Oh, wow. And you can speak just fine and it's not an issue? I'm genuinely curious because I have no idea. Oh, I think I've only ever known people who had like little tongue rings, not like a sizable one. I swear, if they don't turn off whatever that buzzing sound is, it sounds like a drill of some kind. I would definitely bang it into my teeth, Jack. You have to learn to talk around it. Yeah, that's what I figure. We all follow Boggs down an alley that runs between 2 dull gray warehouses. Only the occasional access ladder to the roof interrupts the scarred metal walls. When we emerge onto the street, it's like we've entered another world. The wounded from this morning's bombings are being brought in, and they're on homemade stretchers or in wheelbarrows, on carts slung across shoulders and clenched tightly in arms, bleeding, limbless, and unconscious, propelled by the desperate people to a warehouse with sloppily painted H above the doorway. It's a scene from my old kitchen where my mother was treating the dying multiplied by 10 or by 50, maybe by 100. I had expected bombed out buildings, and instead I find myself confronted with broken human bodies. I think it just stopped, Sloth. I think we're okay. I think the sound actually stopped. I think we scared it away. So we don't need to throw... I would have thrown my phone too, Sloth, if I were dealing with that, but I think we are okay. This is where they plan on filming me. I turn to Boggs and I say, this won't work. I won't be good here. He must see the panic in my eyes because he stops for a moment and he places his hands on my shoulders. You will. Just let them see you. That will do more for them than any doctor in the world could. A woman directing the incoming patients catches sight of us and does a sort of double take and then strides over. Her dark brown eyes are puffy with fatigue and she smells of metal and sweat. A bandage around her throat needed changing about 3 days ago. The strap of the automatic weapon that's slung across her back digs into her neck, and she shifts her shoulder to reposition it. With a jerk of her thumb, she orders the medics into the warehouse. They comply without question. This is Commander Paylor of 8, says Boggs. Commander, this is Soldier Katniss Everdeen. She looks young to be a commander, early 30s, but there's an authoritative tone to her voice that makes you feel like her appointment wasn't arbitrary. Beside her, my spanking new outfit scrubbed shiny, I feel like a recently hatched chick, untested and just learning how to navigate the world. Time to get a house in the country. Yeah, literally. What's been y'all's favorite book and book club so far? Oh, that's so hard. I'm really partial to Land of Stories, but I also love My Name is Memory, and I loved reading Jodi Benson's memoir. I cried so hard in that one. And I also think Paris Hilton's memoir was quite good. Not as good as Jodi's for me personally, but really eye-opening, and it was good for us to read as a collective. Yeah, it is so hard. Claire. Claire's being funny, you guys. She's being funny. I highly suggest doing YouTube for the recordings if you have. Yes, if you need some audiobook time, you can hang with us, because it's not like listening to a regular audiobook, because like we do these stop and discuss moments. So if you want to listen to an audiobook straight through, obviously our YouTubes aren't useful for that. But if you like the discussion aspect of it, I always do read the comments out. And what I've heard is from people like Mina and others, they like that I read the comments out, because obviously on YouTube you can't see the comments, but you get the kind of discussion, even though it's all in my voice. You hear, like Claire said, Colorado Ridge, hands down. And obviously Claire is being funny because we did not love that book, but she's funny. She's got the jokes. She's got the jokes. Yeah, I know who she is, says Paylor. You're alive then. We really weren't sure. Am I wrong, or is there a note of accusation in her voice? Well, I'm still not sure myself, I answer her. Been in recovery. Boggs taps his head. Bad concussion. He lowers his voice a moment. Miscarriage, but she insisted on coming to see you're wounded. Yes, there was also a did not finish. Yes, we've done that as well. Support her. Hi, Renee. I love that Renee chose the one moment when I actually am holding her head to say support her head. I'm actually not really holding her head, I'm just covering her face. And that's how she feels about it. Yeah, well, we've seen plenty of those, says Paylor. You think this is a good idea, says Gail, frowning at the hospital. Assembling yourself wounded like this? I don't. Any sort of contagious disease would spread through this place like wildfire. I think it's likely better than leaving them to die, says Paylor. That's not what I meant, Gail tells her. Well, currently that's my other option, but if you come up with a third and get back to Coin, I'm all ears. Paylor waves me towards the door. Come on in, Mockingjay, and by all means, bring your friends. We miss you too, Renee. I glance back at the freak show that is my crew, and I steel myself and follow her into the hospital. Some sort of heavy industrial curtain hangs the length of the building, forming a sizable corridor. Corpses lie side by side, curtains brushing their heads, white cloths concealing their faces. We've got a massive grave started a few blocks west, but I can't spare the manpower to move them just yet, says Paylor, and she finds a slit in the curtain and opens it wide. My fingers wrap around Gail's wrist. Do not leave my side, I say under my breath to him. I'm right here, he answers quietly, and I step through the curtain and my senses are assaulted. My first impulse is to cover my nose to block out the stench of the soiled linens, the putrid flesh, and the vomit, all ripening in the heat of this warehouse. They've propped open the skylights that crisscross the high metal roof, but any air that's managing to get in can't make a dent in the fog below. The thin shafts of sunlight provide only illumination, and as my eyes adjust, I can make out row upon row of wounded in cots, on pallets, and on the floor, because there are so many to claim the space. The drone of the black flies, the moaning of the people in pain, the sobs of their attending loved ones have combined into a wrenching chorus, and we have no real hospitals in the districts. We die at home, which at the moment seems a far more desirable alternative to what lies in front of me. Sorry, Susan. Yeah, this is a great lunch fare. And then I remember that many of these people probably lost their homes in the bombings. Sweat begins to run down my back and fill my palms. I breathe through my mouth in an attempt to diminish the smell. Black spots swim across my field of vision, and I think that there's a really good chance that I could faint. But then I catch sight of Paler, who's watching me closely, waiting to see what I'm made of, and if any of them have had the right to think they can count on me. So I let go of Gale, and I force myself to move deeper into the warehouse, to walk the narrow strip between the 2 rows of beds. Katniss? A voice croaks out from the left, breaking apart the general din. Katniss! A hand reaches out for me in the haze, and I cling to it for support. Attached to the hand is a young woman with an injured leg. Blood has seeped through the heavy bandages which are crawling with flies. Her face reflects her pain, but something else too, something completely incongruous with her situation. Is it really you? Yeah, it's me, I managed to get out. Joy. That's the expression on her face, and at the sound of my voice it brightens and erases the suffering momentarily. You're alive. We didn't know. People said you were, but we really didn't know, she says excitedly. I got pretty banged up, but I got better, I say. Just like you, Will. I gotta tell my brother. The woman struggles to sit up and calls to a few beds down. Eddie, she's here. It's Katniss Everdeen. A boy, probably about 12 years old, turns to us. Bandages obscure half of his face. The side of his mouth I can see opens as if to utter an exclamation, and I go to him, and I push down the damp brown curls from around his forehead. He murmurs a greeting. He can't speak, but his one good eye fixes on me with such intensity, as if he's trying to memorize every detail on my face. I hear my name rippling through the hot air, and it spreads out into the hospital. Katniss Everdeen. The sound of pain and grief begin to recede, and they're replaced by words of anticipation. From all sides, voices beckon me, and I begin to move, clasping the hands extended to me, touching the sound parts of those unable to move their limbs, saying, hello, how are you? It's good to meet you. Nothing of importance, no amazing words of inspiration for me, but it doesn't matter. Boggs is right. It's the sight of me, alive, that is the inspiration. Morning, Isabella. Oh. Hungry fingers devour me. They want to feel my flesh. As a stricken man clutches my face between his hands, I send a silent thank you to Dalton for suggesting that I wash off the makeup. How ridiculous, how perverse would I feel presenting that painted capital mask to these people, the damaged, the fatigued, the imperfections. That's how they recognize me, and that's why I belong to them. Despite how controversial the interview with Caesar was, many ask about PETA and assure me that they know that he was speaking under duress. And I do my best to sound positive about our future, but people are truly devastated when they learn that I've lost the baby. I want to come clean and tell one weeping woman that it was all a hoax, a move in the game, but to present PETA as a liar now would not help his image or mine or the cause. So I finally begin to understand the lengths to which people have gone to protect me. What I mean to tell the rebels, my ongoing struggle against the Capitol, which has so often felt like a solitary journey, has not been an undertaking alone. I've had thousands upon thousands of people from the districts at my side. I was their Mockingjay long before I accepted the role. A new sensation begins to germinate inside of me, but it takes until I am standing on the table and waving my final goodbyes to the hoarse chanting of my name to even define it. Power. I have a kind of power that I never even knew I possessed. Snow knew it. As soon as I held out those berries, Plutarch knew it when he rescued me from the arena, and Coin knows it now. So much so that she publicly reminded her people that I am not in control. When we're outside again, I lean against the warehouse, catching my breath and accepting a canteen of water from Boggs. You did great, he says. Well, I didn't faint or throw up or run screaming. Mostly I rode the wave of the emotions rolling through the place. Yeah, we got some real nice stuff in there, says Cressida, and I took a look at the insect cameraman, perspiration pouring from underneath their equipment. Masala is scribbling notes, and I had forgotten that they were even filming me. I didn't do much, really, I say. You have to give yourself some credit for what you did and what you have done in the past, says Boggs. What I've done in the past? I think of the trail of destruction in my wake. My knees weaken, and I slide down to a sitting position. That's a mixed bag, I say. Well, you're not perfect by a long shot, but times being what they are, you're gonna have to do, says Boggs. And Gil squats down beside me, shaking his head. I can't believe you let all those people touch you. I kept expecting you to make a break for the door. Shut up, I say with a laugh. Your mother's going to be very proud when she sees this footage, he says. My mother won't even notice me. She'll be too appalled by the conditions in there. I turn to Boggs and I ask, is it like this in every district? Yeah, most are under attack. We're trying to get in and aid wherever we can, but honestly, it's not enough. He stops a minute, distracted by something in his earpiece, and I realize that I haven't heard Hamish's voice even once. And I fiddle with my earpiece, wondering if it's broken. We're to get to the airstrip immediately, Boggs says, lifting me to my feet with one hand. There's a problem. Fun fact, Diana Ross's son, Evan, plays with... Really? I did not know that. That is a fun fact. I did not know that that was her son. Huh. Guys, in case any of you didn't know, if you ever need a fact about Diana Ross, Naisa's your girl. What kind of problem? Asks Gale. Incoming bombers, says Boggs, and he reaches behind my neck and he yanks Cinna's helmet up onto my head. All right, let's move. Unsure of what's going on, I take off running along the front of the warehouse, heading for the alley that leads to the airstrip, but I don't sense any immediate threat. The sky is empty. It's a cloudless blue. The street's clear except for the people hauling the wounded to the hospital. There's no enemy, no alarm. And then the sirens begin to wail, and within seconds, a low-flying V-shaped formation of capital hoverplanes appears above us, and the bombs begin to fall, and am blown off my feet into the front wall of the warehouse. There's a searing pain just above the back of my right knee. Something has struck my back as well, but it doesn't seem to have penetrated my vest. I try to get up, but Boggs pushes me back down. He's shielding my body with his own. The ground ripples under me as bomb after bomb drops from the planes and detonates. It's a horrifying sensation being pinned against the wall as the bombs rain down on us. What was that expression that my father used for easy kills? Yeah, like shooting fish in a barrel. We are the fish. The street is the barrel. Katniss! I'm startled by Hamish's voice in my ear. What? Yes, what? I'm here. What? I answer. You listen to me. We can't land during the bombings, but it's imperative that you are not spotted, he says. So they don't know that I'm here? I assumed, as usual, it was my presence that brought on the punishment. Intelligence thinks no, that this raid was already scheduled, says Hamish. And now Plutarch's voice comes up, calm but forceful, the voice of a head game maker used to calling the shots under pressure. There's a light blue warehouse down 3 rows from where you are. It has a bunker that is in the far north corner. Can you get there? Well, we'll do our best, says Boggs. And Plutarch must be in everyone's ear because my bodyguards and crew are getting up and my eye instinctively searches for Gale and sees that he's on his feet, apparently unharmed. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I do try to know everybody. It's an interesting thing. We used to do this thing. I haven't had time to do one in a long time, but I used to do this thing where I would make videos and tell the lore of how each person came into the community. They take a long time to do because I have to like search the recesses of my mind, but things like I don't know if you guys know this, but Liz came into the community because she was listening to a podcast that partnered with me and they hired me to make slimes as a giveaway for their Patreon. And then she got one of the slimes and then she started following my journey at Slimu and so on and so forth. And then, here we are. So you think about things like that. And then there's other people who, found me because of my sister chats about the slime, or not slime stuff, Broadway stuff. I can't pin Isabella, but she wanted to know if you're re-dyed. I am re-dyed. Good eye, Isabella. Look at Isabella with her genius look. Hold on. Yes. And I even added purple. You can't really see it, but it's true. I did freshen up my hair. Look at you. That was very impressive. I'm impressed. Usually people don't notice because I didn't have the whole thing redone. I just put brighter pink over the faded pieces, but I'm very impressed. Good work, yes. And there is purple underneath. You have an artist's eye. Very appreciated. Okay, back to reading. But first, since we have paused, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Oh, sorry. No, person I don't know. I don't want to join your live. Dismiss. We'll do our best, says Boggs, and Plutarch must be in everyone's ear because my bodyguards and crew are getting up. My eyes instinctively search for Gale, and he's on his feet, apparently unharmed. You've got maybe 45 seconds until the next wave, says Plutarch, and I give a grunt of pain as my right leg takes the weight of my body, but I keep moving. No time to examine the injury, and it's better not to look now anyway. Fortunately, I have on shoes that Cinna designed, and they grip the asphalt on contact and spring free of the release. I'd be hopeless in that ill-fitting pair that 13 had assigned to me, but Boggs has the lead and no one else passes me. Instead, they match me in pace, protecting my sides and my back. I force myself into a sprint as the seconds tick away, and we pass the second gray warehouse and run along a dirt brown building. Up ahead, I see a faded blue facade. Right, home of the bunker. We've just reached another alley and need only to cross it to arrive at the door. And when the next wave of bombs begins, I instinctively dive into the alley and roll toward the blue wall. This time, it's Gale who throws himself over me to provide one more layer of protection from the bombings, and it seems to go longer this time. But we're farther away, and I shift onto my side to find myself looking directly into Gale's eyes, and for an instant, the world recedes, and there is just his flushed face, his pulse visible at his temples, his lips slightly parted as he tries to catch his breath. "You all right?" he asks, his words nearly drowned out by an explosion. "Yeah, I don't think they've seen me," I answer. "I mean, they're not following us?" "No, they've targeted something else," says Gale. "I know, but there's nothing back there but the..." And the realization hits us both at the same time. The hospital. Instantly, Gale's up and shouting at the others. "They're targeting the hospital." "Not your problem," Plutarch says firmly. "Get to the bunker." "But there's nothing in there except the wounded," I say. "Katniss." I hear the warning note in Hamish's voice, and I know what's coming. "Don't you even think about it." I yank the earpiece free and I let it hang from its wire. With that distraction gone, I hear another sound. Machine gun fire is coming from the roof of the dirt brown building warehouse across the alley. Someone is returning fire, and before anyone can stop me, I make a dash for an access ladder and begin to scale it, climbing. This is one of the things that I do best. "Don't stop," I hear Gale say behind me, and then there's the sound of his boot on someone's face. If it belongs to Boggs, Gale is going to pay for that dearly later on. I make it to the roof and I drag myself onto the tar. I stop long enough to pull Gale up beside me, and we take off down the row of machine gun nets on the side of the street where the warehouse is, and each looks to be manned by a few rebels. We skid into a nest with a pair of soldiers hunching down behind the barrier. "Does Boggs know you're up here?" To my left, I see Paylor behind one of the guns, looking at us quizzically. I try to be evasive without flat out lying to her. "He knows where we are, all right?" Paylor laughs. "Yeah, I bet he knows where you are. Have you been trained in these?" And she slaps the stock of her gun. "I have, in 13, says Gale, "but I'd rather use my own weapon." "Yes, we've got our own weapons." I hold mine up, and then I realize how decorative it must seem. It's more deadly than it looks," I say. "It would have to be," says Paylor. "All right, we expect at least 3 more waves. They have to drop their sight shields before they can release the bombs. That's our chance. Stay low." And I position myself to shoot from one knee. "Better start with fire," says Gale, and I nod and pull an arrow from my right sheath. If we miss our targets, these arrows will land somewhere, probably the warehouse across the street. A fire can be put out, but the damage of an explosive can be irreparable. Suddenly, they appear in the sky 2 blocks down and maybe 100 yards above us. 7 small bombers in a V formation. "Geese!" I yell at Gale, and he knows exactly what I mean. During migration season, when we hunt fowl, we've developed a system of dividing the birds so that we don't both target the same ones. I get to the far side of the V, and Gale takes the near side, and we alternate shots at the front bird. There's no time for further discussion, and I estimate the lead time on the hoverplanes, and I let my arrow fly. I catch the inside wing of one, causing it to burst into flames, and Gale just misses the point plane. A fire blooms on an empty warehouse roof across from us, and he swears under his breath. The hoverplane I hit swerves out of formation, but it still releases its bombs. It doesn't disappear, though. Neither does the one that I assume was hit by gunfire. The damage must prevent the sight shield from reactivating. "Good shot," says Gale. "I wasn't even aiming for that one," I mutter, and I set my sights on the plane in front of it. They're faster than we think they are. "Positions!" Paylor shouts, and the next wave of hoverplanes is appearing already. "Fire's no good," Gale says, and I nod, and we both load explosive-tipped arrows. The warehouse across the way looks deserted anyway.
As the plane sweeps silently in, I make another decision. I'm standing, I shout to Gale, and I rise to my feet. This is the position which I get the best accuracy from, and I lead earlier and score a direct hit on the point plane, blasting a hole in its belly, and Gale blows the tail off a second one. It flips and crashes into the street, setting off a series of explosions as its cargo goes off. Without warning, a third V formation unveils. This time, Gale squarely hits the point plane, and I take the wing off a second bomber, causing it to spin to the one behind it. Together, they collide into the roof of the warehouse across from the hospital. A fourth goes down from gunfire. All right, that's it, Paylor says, and flames, heavy and black smoke from the wreckage obscure our view. Did they hit the hospital? Yeah, must have, she says grimly, and I hurry towards the ladders at the far end of the warehouse. The sight of Masala and one of the insects emerging from behind the air duct surprises me. I thought that they were still hunkered down in the alley. They're growing on me, says Gale, and I scramble down a ladder, and when my feet hit the ground, I find a bodyguard, Cressida, and the other insect waiting. I expect resistance, but Cressida just waves me toward the hospital. She's yelling, I don't care, Plutarch, just give me 5 more minutes. Not one to question a free pass. I take off into the street. Oh no, I whisper as I catch sight of the hospital, or what used to be the hospital. I move past the wounded, past the burning plane wreckage, fixed on the disaster ahead of me, people screaming, running about frantically, but unable to help. The bombs have collapsed, the hospital roof and the building set on fire, effectively trapping the patients within it. A group of rescuers has assembled, trying to clear a path inside, but I already know what they will find. If the crushing debris and the flames didn't get them, of course the smoke did. Gale's at my shoulder. I find the fact that he does nothing only confirms my suspicions. Miners don't abandon an accident unless it's hopeless. Come on, Katniss. Hamish says that they can get a hovercraft in for us now. He tells me, but I can't seem to move. Why would they do that? Why would they target the people who were already dying? I ask him. Scare others off? Prevent the wounded from seeking help? Says Gale. Those people you met, they were expendable. To Snow anyway. If the Capitol wins, what will it do with a bunch of damaged slaves? I remember all those years in the woods, listening to Gale rant against the Capitol, me not paying close enough attention, wondering why he even bothered to dissect its motives, why thinking like our enemy would ever even matter, but clearly it could have mattered today. When Gale questioned the existence of the hospital, he wasn't thinking of disease, but this, because he never underestimates the cruelty of those that we are facing. I slowly turn my back to the hospital and find Cressida flanked by the insects, standing a couple of yards in front of me. Her manner is unrattled. She's cool even. Katniss, she says, President Snow just had them air bombing live, and then he made an appearance to say this was his way of sending a message to the rebels. What about you? What would you like to say to the rebels? Would you like to say anything? Yes, I whisper. The red blinking light on one of the cameras catches my eye, and I know I'm being recorded. Yes, I say more forcefully. Everyone is drawing away from me. Gale, Cressida, the insects, they're all giving me the stage, but I stay focused on the red light. I would like to tell the rebels that I'm alive, and that I'm right here in District 8 where the Capitol's just bombed the hospital full of unarmed men, women, and children, and there will be no survivors. The shock that I've been feeling begins to give way to fury now. I want to tell the people that if you think for 1 second the Capitol will treat us fairly if there's a ceasefire, then you're deluding yourself, because you know who they are and you know what they'll do. My hands go out automatically as if to indicate the whole horror around me. This is what they will do, and we must fight back. I'm moving toward the camera now, carried by my rage. President Snow says that he's sending us a message. Well, I have a message for him. Is that your message for the president? Yeah. Okay. Well, I have one for him. You can torture us, you can bomb us, and you can burn our districts to the ground. But do you see that? And one of the cameras follows the point that I placed to the plane burning on the roof of the warehouse across from us. The Capitol seal is on the wing, and it's glowing clearly through the flames. Fire is catching. I'm shouting now, determined that he won't miss a word. And if we burn, you'll burn with us. My last words hang in the air, and I feel suspended in time, held aloft in a cloud of heat that generates not from my surroundings, but but from my very being. Cut, Cressida says, and her voice snaps me back to reality, extinguishing me. She gives me a nod of approval. All right, that's a wrap. Yes, we will not be showing the baby at all, and we are reading Mockingjay to answer those two questions. Yeah, no, we don't show the baby's face. Nope, nope, nope. If we burn, you burn with us is a really good line. It's a really good line. Yeah, all right, let's see how long chapter 8 is, and if we think we can get through it. It's 14 pages. We might be able to do it. I know. It's a great line. Let me get a sip of my coffee and then we'll read the next one. You like that? How I used the book when I didn't have a hand? That's good, right? That was classic. Well then. Chapter 8, page 101. Boggs appears and gets a firm lock on my arm, but I'm not planning on running now. I look over at the hospital just in time to see the rest of the structure give way, and the fight goes out of me. All those people, the hundreds of wounded, the relatives, the medics from 13, they all are no more. And I turn back to Boggs and see the swelling of his face left by Gale's boot. I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure that his nose is broken. His voice is more resigned than angry, though. Back to the landing strip. And I obediently take a step forward, and I wince as I become aware of the pain in my right knee. The adrenaline rush that overrode the sensation is past, and my body parts join in a chorus of complaints. I'm banged up and bloody, and someone seems to be hammering on my left temple from inside of my skull. Boggs quickly examines my face and then scoops me up and jogs for the runway. Halfway there, I puke on his bulletproof vest. It's hard to tell because he's short of breath, but I think he sighs. A small hovercraft, different from the one that transported us here, waits on the runway. The second my team is on board, we take off. No comfy seats no comfy seats or windows this time. We seem to be in some sort of cargo craft, and Bog does the first aid emergency on people to hold them over until we get back to 13. I want to take off my vest since I got a fair amount of vomit on it as well, but it's too cold to think about it, so I lie on the floor with my head in Gale's lap, and the last thing I remember is Boggs spreading a couple of burlap sacks over me. When I wake up, I'm warm and patched up in my old bed in the hospital, and my mother's there checking my vital signs. How do you feel? A little beat up, but I'm all right, I say. No one even told us that you were going until you were gone, she says, and I feel a pang of guilt. When your family has to send you off twice into the Hunger Games, this isn't the kind of detail that you should overlook. I'm sorry. They weren't expecting attacks. It was just supposed to be visiting the patients, I explained. Next time I'll have them clear it with you. Katniss, no one clears anything with me, she says. And it's true, even I don't. Not since my father died. Why pretend? Well, then I'll have them notify you anyway? On the bedside table is a piece of shrapnel that they removed from my leg. The doctors are more concerned with the damage that my brain might have suffered from the explosion since my concussion hadn't fully healed to begin with. But I don't have double vision or anything like that, and I can think clearly enough. I slept right through the late afternoon and the night, and I'm starving. My breakfast is disappointingly small, just a few cubes of bread soaking in milk. I've been called down to an early morning meeting at command, and I start to get up, and then I realize they plan to roll my hospital bed directly in there. I want to walk, but that's out, so I negotiate my way into a wheelchair. Okay, yeah, no worries. I feel fine, really, except for my head and my leg and the soreness from the bruises and the nausea that hit a couple minutes after I ate. Maybe the wheelchair was a good idea. And as they wheel me down, I begin to get uneasy about what I will face. Gale and I directly disobeyed orders yesterday, and Boggs has the injury to prove it. Surely there will be repercussions, but will they go as far as Coin annulling our agreement to the victor's immunity? Have I stripped PETA of what little protection I was able to give them? Hey, Nicole. When I get to command, the only ones who have arrived are Cressida, Masala, and the insects. And Masala beams and says, "There is our little star." And the others are smiling so genuinely that I can't help but return the smile. They impressed me in 8, following me onto the roof during the bombing, making Plutarch back off so that they could get the footage that they wanted. They more than do their work. They take pride in it, like Cinna. I have strange thought that if we were in the arena together, I would pick them as allies, Cressida, Masala, and I have to stop calling you the insects, I blurt out to the cameramen, and I explain how I didn't know their names, but in their suits that were suggested shelled creatures. The comparison doesn't seem to bother them, though. Even without the camera shells, they strongly resemble each other. The same sandy hair, red beards, and blue eyes. And the one with close-bitten nails introduces himself as Castor, and the other, who is his brother, as Pollux. And I wait for Pollux to say hello, but he just nods, and at first I think maybe he's shy, or a man of few words, and then something tugs on me. The position of his lips, the extra effort he takes to swallow, and I know, before Castor even tells me, the Pollux is an Avox, and they've cut out his tongue, and he'll never speak again, and I no longer have to wonder what made him risk everything to help me bring down the Capitol. As the room fills, I brace myself for a less congenial reception, but the only people who registered any kind of negativity are Hamish, who's always out of sorts, and the sour-faced Fulvia Cardew. Boggs wears a flesh-colored plastic mask for his upper lip to brow. I was right about the broken nose. So his expression is pretty hard to read. Coin and Gale are in the midst of some kind of exchange that seems positively chummy. When Gale slides into the seat next to my wheelchair, I say, "Making new friends?" His eyes flicker to the president and then back. "Well, one of us has to be accessible." And he touches my temple gently. "How do you feel?" They must have served stewed garlic and squash for breakfast vegetable. The more people who gather, the stronger the fumes are, and my stomach is turning, and the lights suddenly seem too bright. I feel kind of rocky, I say. "How are you?" "I'm fine. They dug out a couple of shrapnel pieces. No big deal," he says. Coin calls the meeting to order, Our airtime assault has officially launched. For any of you who missed yesterday's 2000 broadcast of our first propo, or the 17 reruns that BD has managed to air since then, we will begin by replaying it. Replaying it? So they not only got usable footage, they've already slapped together a propo and aired it repeatedly? My palms grow moist in anticipation of seeing myself on television. What if I'm still awful? What if I'm stiff and pointless as I was in the studio? What if they've just given up on getting anything better? Individual screens slide from the table and the lights dim slightly and a hush falls over the room. Yeah, what Amanda said is exactly right. Your kids are insisting on making a piñata. That's funny. I will do a slime live later if I am able. It depends on if my husband has time to watch the baby tonight while I do it. We shall see. At first, my screen is black, and the tiny spark flickers in the center, and it blossoms and spreads silently, eating up the blackness until the entire frame is ablaze with a fire so real and intense, I imagine that I feel the heat emanating from it. The image of the Mockingjay pin emerges glowing and red gold. The deep, resonant voice that haunts my dreams begins to speak. It's Claudius Templesmith, the official announcer of the Hunger Games, who says, "Katniss Everdeen, the girl who was on fire, burns on." And suddenly there I am, replacing the Mockingjay, standing before the real flames and the smoke of District 8. I want to tell the rebels that I'm alive and that I am right here in District 8, where the Capitol has just bombed a hospital full of unarmed men, women, and children. There will be no survivors. Cut to the hospital collapsing on itself, the desperation of the onlookers I continue to voice over. I want to tell the people that if you think for 1 second the Capitol will treat us fairly if there's a ceasefire, you're deluding yourself, because you know who they are and you know what they do. And it's back to me now on camera, my hands lifting to indicate the outrage all around me. This is what they do, and we must fight back. Now comes a truly fascinating montage of the battle. The initial bombs falling, us running, being blown to the ground, a close-up of my wound, which looks good and bloody, scaling the roof and diving into the nests, and then some amazing shots of the rebels, Gale, and mostly of me. Me knocking those planes out of the sky. Smash cut back to me moving in on the camera. President Snow says he's sending us a message. Well, I have one for him. You can torture us and bomb us and burn our districts to the ground. But do you see that? We're with the camera, tracking to the planes burning on the roof of the warehouse, tight on the Capitol seal on a wing, which melts back into the image of my face shouting at the president. Fire is catching, and if we burn, you burn with us. Flames engulf the screen again, superimposed on them in the back. Solid letters say the words, "If we burn, you burn with us." I love watching red carpet for that. You are not old for not knowing who Diana is, Liz, because it's Diana Ross, and she is old. And that's not meant to be rude. She just literally is old. So, there's that. The words catch fire, and the whole screen burns to blackness. Oh, it's funny. This isn't funny. Naisa's comment was funny. Let me refocus myself. If we burn, you burn with us. The words catch fire, and the whole screen burns to blackness, and there's a moment of silent relish and the applause followed by demands to see it again. Coin indulgently hits the replay button, and this time, since I know what will happen, I try to pretend that I'm watching this on my television at home in the seam, the anti-capital statement. There's never been anything like this on television, not in my lifetime anyway. By the time the screen burns to black the second time, I need to know more. Did it play all over Panem? Did they see it in the Capitol? Not in the Capitol, says Plutarch. We couldn't override their system, although the BD is working on it. But all the districts, we've even got it on in 2, which may be more valuable than the Capitol at this point in the game. Is Claudius Templesmith with us, I ask? And this gives Plutarch a good laugh. Only his voice, but that's ours for the taking. We didn't have to do anything special to edit it. He said that line in your first games. He slapped his hand on the table. What say we give another round of applause to Cressida and her amazing team, and of course our on-camera talent here. I clap too until I realize that I'm the on-camera talent, and maybe it's obnoxious that I'm applauding for myself, but no one's paying attention, and I can't help noticing the strain on Fulvia's face, though. I think how hard this must be for her, watching Hamish's idea succeed under Cressida's direction, when Fulvia's studio approach was such a flop. Coin seems to have reached the end of her tolerance for self-congratulation. Yes, well deserved. The end is more than we hoped for, but I do have a question to the wide margin of the risk that you were willing to operate within. I know that the raid was unforeseen. However, given the circumstances, I do think that we should discuss the decision to send Katniss into actual combat. The decision? To send me into combat? Then she doesn't know that I flagrantly disregarded orders and ripped out my earpiece and gave my bodyguards the slip? What else have they kept from her? Yeah, it was a tough call, says Plutarch, furrowing his brow. But the general consensus was that we weren't going to get anything worth using if we locked her in a bunker somewhere every time a gun went off. And you're all right with that? Asks the president. And Gail has to kick me under the table before I realize that she's talking to me. Oh, yeah, I'm completely all right with that. Yeah, it felt good, doing something good for a change. Well, let's just be a little more judicious with her exposure, especially now that the Capitol knows what she can do, says Coin. And there's a rumble of assent from around the table. No one has ratted out Gale and me. Not Plutarch, whose authority we ignored, not Boggs with his broken nose, and not the insects who we led into fire, not even Hamish. No, wait a minute. Hamish is giving me a deadly smile and saying sweetly, yeah, we wouldn't want to lose our little Mockingjay when she finally begun to sing. And I make a note to myself not to end up alone in a room with him, because he's clearly having vengeful thoughts over the stupid earpiece decision. So what else have you planned? Asks the president. Plutarch nods to Cressida, who consults a clipboard. We have some terrific footage of Katniss at the hospital in 8. There should be another propo with that theme because, you know who they are and what they do and all that. And we'll focus on Katniss interacting with the patients, particularly the children, the bombing of the hospital, and then the wreckage. Masala is cutting all of that together. We're also thinking about a Mockingjay piece, highlight some of Katniss's best moments, intercut with some of the scenes of the rebel uprisings and the war footage. And we'll call that one Fire is Catching. And then Fulvia came up with that brilliant idea. Fulvia's mouthful of sour grapes expression is startled right off of her face, but she recovers. Well, I don't know how brilliant it is, but I was thinking that we could do a series of propos called We Remember. In each one, we could feature one of the dead tributes. Little Rue from 11 or Old Mags from 4. The idea being that, we could target each district with a very personal piece. A tribute to your tributes, as it were, says Plutarch. That is brilliant, Fulvia, I say sincerely. It's the perfect way to remind the people why they're fighting. Yeah, I think it could work, she says. Well, I think we might use Finnick to intro the narrative and spots if there was any interest in them. Frankly, I don't see how we could have too many we remember propos, says Coin. Can you start producing them today? Yeah, of course, says Fulvia, obviously mollified by the response to her idea. Cressida has smoothed everything over in the creative department with her gesture. She praised Fulvia for what is, in fact, a really good idea and cleared the way to continue her own on-air depiction of the Mockingjay. What's interesting is that Plutarch seems to have no need to share the credit. All he wants is for the airtime assault to work. And I remember that Plutarch is head game maker, not a member of the crew, not a piece in the games, and therefore his worth is not defined by a single element, but by the overall success of the production. If we win the war, that's when Plutarch will take his bow and expect his reward. The president sends everyone off to get to work, so Gail wheels me back to the hospital. Hey, what's going on? We're still sleeping? Okay. We laugh a little about the cover-up, and Gail says that no one wanted to look bad admitting that they couldn't control us. I'm kinder, saying that they probably didn't want to jeopardize the chance of taking us out again now that they've gotten some decent footage. Both things are probably true. Gail has to go meet Beatty down in Special Weaponry, so I doze off. It seems like I've only shut my eyes for a few minutes, but when I open them, I flinch at the sight of Hamish sitting a couple of feet from my bed, waiting, possibly for several hours if the clock is right. I think about hollering for witnesses, but I'm gonna have to face him alone, sooner or later. Hamish leans forward and dangles something on a thin white wire in front of my nose. It's hard to focus on it, but I'm pretty sure I know what it is, and he drops it onto the sheets. That's your earpiece. I'll give you exactly one more chance to wear it, and if you remove it from your ear again, I'll have you fitted with this. And he holds up some sort of metal headgear that I instantly name the head shackle. Hey, John. How are you, buddy? Oh my gosh. I was just telling Rocky how much I miss you guys. Hi. It's an alternative audio unit that locks around your skull and your chin until it's opened with a key, and I will have the only key. If for some reason you're clever enough to disable it, it'll stay locked on you. Hamish dumps the head shackle onto the bed and whips out a tiny silver chip. I'll authorize them to then surgically implant this transmitter into your ear so that I may speak with you 24 hours a day. Hamish in my head full time, a horrifying thought. I'll keep the earpiece in, I mutter. Excuse me? He says. I'll keep the earpiece in, I say loud enough to wake half the hospital. Are you sure? Because I'm equally happy with any of these three options, he tells me. Yeah, I'm sure, I say, and I scrunch up the earpiece wire protectively in my fist, and I fling the head shackle back at his face with my free hand, but he catches it easily, probably because he was expecting me to throw it. Anything else? I ask. Hamish rises to go. While I was waiting, I ate your lunch. I know, Hamish is hilarious. My eyes take in the empty stew bowl on my tray on the bedside table. I'm gonna report you, I mumble into my pillow. Yep, you do that, sweetheart. And he goes out, safe in the knowledge that I'm really not the reporting kind. I want to go back to sleep, but I'm restless, and images from yesterday begin to flood into the present. The bombing, the plane crashes, the faces of the wounded who no longer exist. I imagine death from all sides, and the last moment before seeing the shell hit the ground, feeling the wing blow from the plane and the dizzying nosedive into oblivion, the warehouse roof falling down at me while I'm pinned helplessly to my cot. Things I saw in person or on tape. Things I caused with a pull of my bowstring. Things that I will never be able to erase from my memory. And at dinner, Finnick brings his tray to my bed so that we can watch the newest propo together on television. He was assigned quarters on my old floor, but he has so many mental relapses that he basically lives in the hospital. The rebels air the because you know who you are and what they do propo that Masala edited, and the footage is intercut with short studio clips of Gale, Boggs, and Cressida describing the incident. It's hard to watch my reception in the hospitals in 8 since I know what's coming. When the bombs rain down on the roof, I bury my face in a pillow, looking up again at a brief clip of me at the end after all the victims are dead. Thank you. At least Finnick doesn't applaud or act all happy when it's all done. He just says, yeah, people should know what happened, and now they do. Let's turn it off, Finnick, before it runs again, I urge him. But as Finnick's hand moves towards the remote, I cry, wait! The Capitol is introducing a special segment now, and something about it looks familiar. Yes, Caesar Flickerman, and I can guess who his guest will be. PETA's physical transformation shocks me. The healthy, clear-eyed boy that I saw a few days ago has lost at least 15 pounds and developed a nervous tremor in his hands. They've still got him groomed, but underneath all the paint that can't cover the bags under his eyes are the fine clothes can't even conceal the pain that he feels when he moves. He's a person badly damaged. My mind reels, trying to make sense of it. I just saw him 4 or maybe 5 days ago. I think it was 5 days ago. How has he deteriorated so rapidly? What could they possibly have done to him in such a short time? And then it hits me. I replay in my mind as much as I can of his first interview with Caesar, searching for anything that would place it in time, but there's nothing. They could have taped that interview a day or 2 after I blew up the arena and done whatever they wanted to him since then. Oh, PETA, I whisper. Caesar and PETA have a few empty exchanges before Caesar asks him about the rumors that I'm taping propos for the districts. They're using her, obviously, PETA says, to whip up the rebels. I doubt she even really knows what's going on in the war or what even's at stake. Is there anything you'd like to tell her? Asks Caesar. There is, says PETA, and he looks directly into the camera, right into my eyes. Don't be a fool, Katniss. Think for yourself. They've turned you into a weapon that could be instrumental in the destruction of humanity. If you've got any real influence, use it to put the brakes on this thing. Use it to stop the war before it's too late. Ask yourself, do you really trust the people that you're working with? Do you really know what's going on? And if you don't, find out. Black screen. Seal of Panem. Show over. Finnick presses the button on the remote that kills the power, and in a minute, people will be in here to do damage control on PETA's condition and the words that came out of his mouth. I'll need to repudiate them. The truth is, I don't trust the rebels, or Plutarch, or Coin, but I'm not confident that they'll tell me the truth. I won't be able to conceal this. Footsteps are approaching. Finnick grabs me hard by the arm. We didn't see it. What? I ask. We didn't see PETA. The only thing on is the propo from 8, and then we turned off the set because the images upset you. Got it? He asks, and I nod. Finish your dinner. I pull myself together enough so that when Plutarch and Fulvia enter, I have a mouthful of bread and cabbage, and Finnick is talking about how well Gale came across on camera, and we congratulate them on the propo and make it clear it was so powerful that we tuned out right after, and they look relieved. They believe us. No one even mentions PETA. Well then. Well then. Come here, my sweet angel. Okay, there you go. That was quite a chapter, if I do say so myself. Quite. Yeah, that was really smart of Finnick. I agree, Jen. It was really smart of him to tell her that, because who knows what they would have done otherwise, right? Yeah. Okay, well, what is on the docket for today? On the docket for today is, the first thing I'm going to do is pack up a booze banana bread. So if you're a booze banana bread person, there should be a video of that soon. And then I will pack up Pain, because I made that. I got to make more slimes. Obviously, I was bad this weekend and started watching. That's amazing, Avery. I don't think that's bad. I don't see anything wrong with that. Doesn't mean you can't watch it again. I thought her party hats were pizza slices. Oh my gosh, yes, they are party hats, but I'm also hungry. 13's not much better than the Capitol. Yeah, Brittany, that's an interesting point, right? That I always think about. I love her onesie too. I always think about that, like in the real world, like, is there any winning, you know? It's true. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I love that, Sloth. I think about that all the time too, that she'll have heard so many books before she even starts to read, because I read so much aloud to her, you know, not only her books, but these books. I think, oh, for sure, Naisa, Coin is definitely a wolf. I think that she's going to have like a really good, I hope she'll have a good sense of how to speak and a good vocabulary from hearing so much speech all the time, you know. And we talk to her obviously, all the time. So anyway, I'm going to pack up more slimes. I'm going to make more slimes. Hopefully I'll be able to get on live tonight. Often it's a transition of power and the people who aren't part of the equation. Yes, that's a good point. That's a very good point. The transition people are often, yeah, that is interesting, right? Coin is not great. That is for sure. Yeah, coin is not great. My goal for today is 3 things. Pack up the slimes that have been made, wash the bins. Obviously, I need to make a new white glue sparkle pop. I need to make the last 2 of the No Stress Express, and I want to get some of that stuff shipped out. Emma says things like, the mystery is afoot. That's amazing. I love that. That's adorable. What a cute thing for an 8-year-old to say. Wait, is she 8? Wait. How old is Emma? Am I wrong? Is she 7? How old is Emma? She is 8. Okay, I was right. Okay, I thought so. I wasn't sure if I remembered it right or not. Yes, she is 8. This is the thing. So many of you all have kids that sometimes I confuse the ages. You know what I mean? I know everyone's like the correct names that go with everyone, but like I think Caddy, Ray's daughter, I think she's 7. But I try to remember. I do put a concerted effort into trying, but there's just so many. Yeah, we need a chart. I mean, tell me about it. Sometimes people ask me how old she is, and I'm like 3 months and 7 days. I'm like, how many? I don't know. I can't do numbers, you guys. Okay, so anyway, I'm hoping to get No Stress Express orders shipped out this week, and pre-orders are going to start shipping because those are almost like, I'm almost done with some to complete some of the orders. Anyway, you don't need me to babble on about this. Yeah, I don't want to remember my own age, Amanda, so let's not even talk about that. Big yawn. Did you do a big yawn? Why is that so big yawn? Hi, good head lifting. Look at that. People were worried about me supporting her head. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I know, Mary. I can't even. It's too much. But look at that. She's got it all. It's your birthday this Saturday, Jen? Wait. Jen, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was your birthday. I should have remembered that. Jen, are we going to do something fun? I DM'd you on the pre-order. Oh, bonk. Well, I should have been protecting her head. I said protected head, and then look what she did, bonking into my shoulder. I like aging. I was not supposed to try. That's amazing. That's amazing, Brittany. What a great perspective. I like aging because I wasn't supposed to be able to survive. I love it. Ooh, what a great thing to say. Your birthday was last week, Mary? Oh my gosh, happy belated birthday. Okay, well, we have Slime Lives tons this week, so yeah. We'll do some celebrating for our birthday folks here. Jen, you should remind me so I can stick the May birthday sticker in your package. I was gonna buy a birthday roll for Slime, I forgot to sign up. Is there a roll for Slime on Saturday? I actually have no idea. They're very well. Oh wait, this is the Mother's Day one, right? Fun! Yes. Oh my gosh, you should bring your bonus kiddo. Oh, wouldn't that be sweet? Wait, if your bonus kiddo can your bonus kiddo come on Saturday so that they can pick your stuff? That would be so cute. Yeah. All right, so I will see you all later. Hopefully I can join the Slime Lives, not be body doubling. That would be amazing. Yes. Yes. And we have, I think our Q&A is Wednesday, if I remember correctly. So if anyone has questions that they want to submit for the Q&A because you can't make it or whatever, go ahead and do that. He's with his mom visiting, which I'm, that makes a lot of sense, Jen. Don't even worry about that. That's not a stress at all. Okay, we're gonna go because someone is hungry. But we'll see you all later. Say bye, everybody. It is my first Mother's Day. I'm so excited. We're gonna have a great time.